This is lesson 2, utilising a mod team. So one of the many ways to build your community is to utilise a really good mod team. Now, to start off with, that's going to be a little bit difficult because obviously you need people coming along to your channel to start off with, to then start delegating mods and what have you. But we're going to speak about it in like quite a wide sort of standpoint. So first and foremost, you really want to be trying to make these guys community leaders within your channel. So one of the fantastic things that they have as almost a tool for them to use is they have a badge of a sword that everyone universally knows is a mod, and therefore they stand out within your community. They stand out as someone that is a lot more likely to be worthwhile taking the advice or the reprimand or what have you from them. So they're already identified as someone that's at the top of your community, just below you. So from there, they have the power to do different things like move along dodgy conversations that are occurring. You know, people start talking about, say, politics, and you don't allow politics conversations in your channel. They can sort of say, hey, come on guys, let's move away from this. Not necessarily needing to time out or ban or anything like that, but they'll be able to just kind of politely and lightly push it along and go a bit further onto something else. And it just makes things a little easier, and it makes things a little less like people are at loggerheads with each other. So one of the other things that your mod team can do as well is they can really push chat along. So it's a bit of a dry day and you know, you're playing a game that's got not tons going on in it and you've kind of run out of conversation topics as well. So they can provide, you know, new avenues. They've just seen something that's come out on X game site, there's a bit of news that's just occurred, and they can go, hey, well, what do you think of the new graphics cards that have just been launched, for example? And just prop up that conversation and get things flowing again, and you know, really make something happen in your chat. Because again, the more active your chat is, the more inviting it appears to any newcomers, the more it looks like something's happening in your channel to cause people to want to come in and come and stay. So the way that I mod, because I mod for about 50-ish channels roughly on Twitch at this point in time, and you know, it fluctuates over time, what have you, but that's how I try to mod. I always think, what would I want to see from a perfect mod that was in my channel, and I try and replicate that in other people's channels. So I try to keep the conversation flowing as best as I can, and you know, take a point in the game that's worth discussing about and introduce that, or you know, something that happened in my day that's worth telling as a story. I'll just run through it and try and get some reactions, and it keeps the conversation buoyed up. The best one, and this is the best way of moving a conversation along, and you can thank Spamfish for this one. Man's an absolute living legend. If you've got a conversation going on that you're not keen on allowing to continue, don't start arguments, don't start like shouting people down. Ask people what's their favourite type of cake. I guarantee you the chat will dissolve into cheesecake is better, no red velvet, muffins, and nothing else forevermore. And it moves away from the subject. People forget what they were talking about, and it moves them on to something that everyone can enjoy. What more could you want? Perfect. This is lesson 3, finding your specialty or niche. So with finding your specialty or your niche within live streaming, it's not always the easiest thing to do. It's not the easiest thing to pin down, and it always seems like everyone's got their own particular brand, whether they're appearing as a cartoon dog throughout the stream, or they're really into like Lovecraft stuff, like Call of Cthulhu is a really cool guy to check out, by the way. Generally has a niche, a point of promotion, a way that they work that really draws people in. Now, I'm not saying that you need to become some kind of bizarre animated character, or you need to do backflips for subs or something insane like that, but there is something to be said for finding your style and finding the way that you put yourself across. And it's a hell of a lot of trial and error. It's basically a case of just finding what you're most comfortable with when you're streaming. So, you could be a higher energy person, or you could be really relaxed and chill, and there's different markets for different types of streamers, but there's no point trying to be a really high energy streamer when you're not a really high energy person. It's not really going to come across terribly well. And the most important thing you can do is ensure that you're enjoying the content that you put out, because it's pretty easy over the course of several hours of stream to tell if you're not enjoying yourself. And if you're not enjoying yourself, odds are your viewers aren't going to enjoy themselves either. You may see this on occasion where different streamers have like sponsored content. Like some of the larger streamers will get like sponsored content, and it'll be some kind of naff game, or they're doing it for some components that are really hard to sell. And you'll notice that their drive and their energy kind of dips off pretty quickly within the cast. That's a sign of someone not enjoying their content. And it comes across pretty strongly. You'll typically see their viewership numbers drop down a little bit because of that. Now, there's a bunch of tools out there for you to try and measure your growth and how well different things are working out for you. Is playing Call of Duty doing better for you? Perhaps you should be playing Destiny. Maybe you should try some Final Fantasy, whatever. You can see against each of those games, or each of those days, or each of those parts of your streams, just how well you've performed, how many viewers you got, how many followers you've got. There's plenty of tools out there to do so. However, with those, there's a risk of getting lost in the numbers. Ultimately, the content itself is the thing that you should be concentrating on. Whilst those numbers are a great way to measure how well you're doing across time, getting too hung up on those can actually just end up being a little depressing. There's a lot of people I know that just hide their viewership numbers entirely because it's another worry, it's another concern that takes them away from making the content that's compelling for people to watch. If you're already stuck in a niche or a specialty that you're not entirely happy with, and it happens quite a lot where people reach quite quick success by playing, say, the latest game that's come out, what have we got at the moment? PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, for example, right? So they've been playing that, and they've become popular for playing that game. And then, as it tends to happen, you kind of lose your enjoyment of that game over time. You start wanting to play some different things. But if you've built up an audience around that one particular game, it becomes very difficult to move away from that game again. So what I would suggest in those situations, if you do find yourself in that spot, is to slowly, and I mean slowly, phase it out. So instead of doing your, say, 5 days a week of playing Battlegrounds every single stream, knock one of those days into a variety day. So you're doing 4 days of Battlegrounds and 1 day of whatever the hell you want to play, some variety gaming, or you want to get into playing a different title instead for its entirety, and then slowly transition across. Give it a couple of weeks, and then maybe go down to 2 days where you do variety gaming instead, and then maybe a month, and then 3 days, and so forth. And if you slowly move across into your sort of new schedule, you'll find that the drop of viewers is less drastic, and you'll slowly start converting some of the people that are there just for the Battlegrounds content, again using that as an example, into watching some of your variety content. And that's probably the best way to run if you've found yourself in that situation. Elsewise, just make sure that you're putting content out there that you enjoy first and foremost. So finding your specialty can be kind of difficult. So to give yourself some like branding guidelines and some best advices, if you take a look below, there'll be a worksheet there for you that will give you a bunch of extra advice and directions to go into. This is lesson 4. Be you, not a weak version of someone else. So, a real major trap a lot of people fall into on Twitch is accidentally mimicking someone else's content. So they just become a weak version of someone else's channel. So if you're putting in some really good practices with trying to build your channel out, you'll probably watch about as much of Twitch as you actually stream to Twitch, or again, with any of the other streaming services. I'm just talking from my experience. Sometimes you'll even watch double as many streams as you'll watch yourself, or as you'll broadcast yourself. Now, the trouble with that is much like with watching TV, there's like quotes that crop up all of the time in different channels, or there's ways of speaking or inflections or different things that perhaps people do in game that you'll start to pick up. And much in the same way as you have TV catchphrases, you have streaming catchphrases as well. So the best example that I can give from personal experience, and I'm talking about them again because they are kind of out there a lot, is Two Angry Gamers TV. They have a hell of a lot of really dumb catchphrases and sayings and whatever else. So instead of saying like be careful in a situation, they'll go careful. And that is kind of how I say it all the time now. And it's weird and dumb, but it just sticks in your brain and you just find yourself doing it over and over and over. Now, one of the things that I noticed was as time went by on my own streams, I was starting to say a lot of things that they would say all of the time, and some of my inflections were becoming the same as what they were saying. And I kind of took a while before I took stock of myself and went, I am actually a less good version of Two Angry Gamers at this point in time. I'm basically kicking out the same content they do at a lower grade. And if I look back through the figures, that's a time where my viewership figures took a dip and the followership figures took a dip. And it's because there's one Two Angry Gamers out there already. They stream 6 days a week. They're very good at it. There's no need for a second one. There's plenty of them to go around. They have a lot of content. I don't need to be a bad impressionist of that. Now, you'll probably find if you really look at your content that you do something similar yourself already. And that's fine. It's not the worst thing in the world that could possibly happen to your channel or to yourself as a personality. But it's important that you recognize and notice that those changes occur and that you're starting to become a little like this and a little like something else. And the best thing that you can really do is try to consciously put a stop to it, because the more and more you kind of leave it to its own devices and just let it slide, the more that you'll find that you are just becoming a weak version of someone else, and it's not the best way to go forward. Make sure you focus on what makes you a unique and fantastic broadcaster, and you'll go a hell of a lot further than you ever will be trying to be the next man versus game. This is lesson 6, how to find topics to chat around. it's all well and good me sitting here going, oh well, you know, interaction's really important, and you got to keep talking forever, otherwise no one will be your friend and whatever else. But it's not the easiest thing to do. There's only so many things that are entered into your day that you can talk about on an easy basis. And if you identify that you have trouble doing that, you know, you get so far through your stream and you've run out of things to discuss, then prepare for it. There are ways that you can prepare to make sure that you don't encounter that, or you have some backup plans or contingency plans of what to talk about in the event that you've decided that walking the dog today wasn't enough to talk about across the course of a stream or what have you. So to give you an example, like I used to work in a betting shop or a bookies. I'm not quite sure how well that translates worldwide. Somewhere you go to place bets on sports events. So I know nothing about sport. I don't know if you've seen me, but I'm not exactly the most athletic guy on the face of the earth, and I'm not really all about screeching at people to run faster after a ball-shaped object. But I used to, on my way into work, read through the sports pages of the newspaper or whatever was available to me at that point in time. So I had a rough idea of what was going on, so I could keep up the conversation when I got into work about football or rugby or tennis or whatever the hell was going on at that point in time. So in exactly the same way, for live streaming, I'll have a flick through a couple of game news sites. I mean, I run one, but other game news sites other than myself, so I don't want to sit there self-promoting myself constantly, because that's always exciting. But, you know, I'll flick through sort of your IGNs, your GameSpots, your different sites in that area that I'm not going to mention because some of them annoy me. But I go through and I pick up different news pieces that have occurred, maybe bits of drama that have happened in different developer communities, or maybe on Twitch itself, or different streaming platforms, or even like YouTube, where there's lack of monetization of videos and bits like that. And I've got discussion topics then. I can sit there discussing around them for as long as it takes and as far as it takes in order to make sure that we've still got a point of discussion to go through the stream. So for yourself, if you've not got time to prepare beforehand to be able to have a list of stuff to go through throughout the course of the stream, you can have a tab of Twitter open, for example. Just have a quick scroll through there when you've run out of steam to pick up a couple of things that people are talking about on there, or even just take time to think about what you're doing on stream. Maybe you look at the game that you're playing and you link through to the director of that game or the publisher of that game and other games that that publisher has done, other things in that particular genre of game that you've really enjoyed. This is a great roguelike, but another roguelike that I like is this type of game. I love first-person shooters, but you know, I think the ultimate first-person shooter was Medal of Honor way back in the day, because they did the wartime thing really well. But you know, like the Battlefield 1 thing's pretty good, but you know, I'm not quite sure. World War 1 wasn't quite the right choice for them, but World War 2 would be pretty good. And just keep going on like that, going back and forth between the different subjects. If you run out of something, scroll through, find yourself a new one. Just keep that conversation going. Sooner or later, someone will pop into that channel, enjoy the content that you're creating, hop onto the conversation topic that you're onto, and then once you've got that back and forth going, it becomes even easier. If chat's taking part in the conversation, you've got something to keep the ball rolling a lot better than just you doing it yourself. You should never rely on chat to provide that for you. But once that starts happening, the quality of the content and the quality of the conversation tends to increase. So it's something that you should be aiming to try and reach. This is lesson 6, how to find topics to chat around. it's all well and good me sitting here going, oh well, interaction is really important, and you got to keep talking forever, otherwise no one will be your friend and whatever else. But it's not the easiest thing to do. There's only so many things that have entered into your day that you can talk about on an easy basis. And if you identify that you have trouble doing that, you get so far through your stream and you've run out of things to discuss, then prepare for it. There are ways that you can prepare to make sure that you don't encounter that, or you have some backup plans or contingency plans of what to talk about in the event that you've decided that walking the dog today wasn't enough to talk about across the course of a stream or what have you. So to give you an example, like I used to work in a betting shop or a bookies. I'm not quite sure how well that translates worldwide. Somewhere you go to place bets on sports events. So I know nothing about sport. I don't know if you've seen me, but I'm not exactly the most athletic guy on the face of the earth, and I'm not really all about screeching at people to run faster after a ball-shaped object. But I used to, on my way into work, read through the sports pages of the newspaper or whatever that was available to me at that point in time. So I had a rough idea of what was going on, so I could keep up the conversation when I got into work about football or rugby or tennis or whatever the hell was going on at that point in time. So in exactly the same way, for live streaming, I'll have a flick through a couple of game news sites. I mean, I run one, but other game news sites other than myself, so I don't sit there self-promoting myself constantly, because that's always exciting. But, I'll flick through sort of your IGNs, your GameSpots, your different sites in that area that I'm not going to mention because some of them annoy me. But I go through and I pick up different news pieces that have occurred, maybe bits of drama that have happened in different developer communities, or maybe on Twitch itself, or different streaming platforms, or even like YouTube, where there's lack of monetization of videos and bits like that. And I've got discussion topics then. I can sit there discussing around them for as long as it takes and as far as it takes, in order to make sure that we've still got a point of discussion to go through the stream. So for yourself, if you've not got time to prepare beforehand to be able to have a list of stuff to go through throughout the course of the stream, you can have a tab of Twitter open, for example. Just have a quick scroll through there when you've run out of steam to pick up a couple of things that people are talking about on there, or even just take time to think about what you're doing on stream. Maybe you look at the game that you're playing and you link through to the director of that game or the publisher of that game and other games that that publisher has done, other things in that particular genre of game that you've really enjoyed. This is a great roguelike, but another roguelike that I like is this type of game. I love first-person shooters, but I think the ultimate first-person shooter was Medal of Honor way back in the day, because they did the wartime thing really well. But, like the Battlefield 1 thing's pretty good, but, I'm not quite sure. World War 1 wasn't quite the right choice for them, but World War 2 would be pretty good. And just keep going on like that, going back and forth between the different subjects. If you run out of something, scroll through, find yourself a new one. Just keep that conversation going. Sooner or later, someone will pop into that channel, enjoy the content that you're creating, hop onto the conversation topic that you're onto, and then once you've got that back and forth going, it becomes even easier. If chat's taking part in the conversation, you've got something to keep the ball rolling a lot better than just you doing it yourself. You should never rely on chat to provide that for you. But once that starts happening, the quality of the content and the quality of the conversation tends to increase. So it's something that you should be aiming to try and reach.
Hey, how's it going, guys? My name is D1 and I'm a Twitch community program manager. I also do commentary worldwide for Super Smash Bros. And various Nintendo games. And I'm going to be here to answer many of your questions in regards to Twitch and the Super Smash Bros. Community.
Perfect.
Cool, cool. All right. And then next. I was just like, So we'll just go down the line. I'll just read
Yeah, so just
what
like
Twitch
yes.
looks for in a partner. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So one of the things that Twitch looks for in a partner is consistency when it comes to streaming. Of course, having a high amount of viewers definitely is a plus, but I feel like consistency is one of the biggest things that people have to work on when it comes to being a partner, and also being like exemplary too. You know, like there are a lot of these partners out there that actually do great things for like charity and just their community in general. Like if you're a person that works hard to stand out as a member of your community, like more often than not, you'll be approached with the opportunity to become a partner. And there are numerous times where like, you know, esports pros and just like well-known advocates of their community get those opportunities to become partner broadcasters. But I think one of the main things that a Twitch an aspiring Twitch partner would have to look out for is for consistency. That's one of the things that they would have to work on, and just show like a lot of interest when it comes to building their own community within Twitch. Yeah, no, 5 things you should never do if you want to get a partner. So if you guys want to get partnered on Twitch, I think one of the worst things for you to do actually is to try to inflate your viewers using, you know, view bots. Like there's some people out there that'll try to show off the fact that they have a lot of viewers to, you know, get partnership, because that, you know, if you do have a lot of viewers, that can be a fast way for somebody to get partnership. But a lot of times these might be bots, and because of this will actually make someone be blacklisted, where even if they don't have bots anymore, we still have in the history that they did try to, you know, bamboozle us with view bots in the past. So that can actually mess up their chances with getting partnership. And of course, ban evasion. There are people who sometimes get banned on the platform for breaking terms of service. And if you try to create another account to evade the ban, that just makes things worse for you. We can track your IP. I mean, we're Twitch, like we have the power. And I think another thing too is, I'm trying to think, just, yeah, straight up breaking TOS in general, right? Like if a person tries to show nudity or do things that the terms of service say that you can't do, if you break that, that will make your chances even harder to get partners. So I think the best thing to do is just think about your brand, and if we feel as if your brand does not align with ours at Twitch, we have the right to not give you guys partnership.
Perfect.
All right, cool.
What do you see as the most valuable and or like underused features on Twitch?
Well, let's see. As far as communities are concerned, I think it's a new product that a lot of people are still trying to get used to. It's kind of tough because some people feel as if there is a person who has a lot of viewers. If they're part of this particular community, that this community will get the most hits because maybe you'll have a lyric or, you know, what's his name, Syndicate, like streaming there. But I think what we're trying to do when it comes to communities is like not have the communities with the most views on top, but instead try to have something where people just, we want people to use the directory to find a community for them. It's kind of tough because it's a delicate balancing act when it comes to the directory. They try to have like whatever has the most concurrent viewers on top, but it's still something that we're trying to fine tune and trying to see if maybe we could have things in alphabetical order or what have you. But I think communities is definitely something that's going a step in the right direction for Twitch, because before it would be like whatever game is the most popular, that's what people are going to tune into, and usually that game is like Hearthstone, CSGO, League of Legends, and whatever the new flavor of the month is, right? With communities, we want it to be something where if you find something that you identify with, you will hop into that and actually have a good time on Twitch. Like I for one like going into the chill streams where you have something where it's not too crazy, just laid back, something that you can watch before you go to sleep. And I myself, I'm trying to join that community myself, because whenever I do my streams, they're usually super late night, so I don't have the same energy that I do usually when I'm out at a tournament during the day. So yeah, I find myself to be like a chill streamer. So I'll see if I can do my best to help build up that community on my own. As far as teams are concerned, I think teams are one of my favorite things on Twitch that I feel like, I feel as if Teams just doesn't get the same attention that it used to. It's an outdated product right now on our platform, and we're still trying to find ways to like revamp it, because back then when it came to Teams, basically what would happen is people would create their own team and they'll just add a bunch of people to this particular team. And if you wanted to see all the people that were on this team, you would just check out the team page and you'd see all the users that are live or part of that team if they're offline or whatever. But as for now, we're not really we're not trying to push that product as much. Instead, we're trying to focus more on communities, because we feel like when it comes to Teams, it's something that is more like exclusive. It's a thing that only a few people can be a part of, while with communities, it's something that doesn't alienate anybody. It's like all inclusive. If you feel like you identify with this particular community, just join, and follow the rules of this community and then find success in there. So I think we're trying to focus less on teams and more on communities. And when it comes to teams, I guess the main thing that we would allow when it comes to like team pages is if there's actually a legit esports team, or maybe there's an event like Evo that has multiple channels. So you go to the Evo team page and it'll have Evo 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. So things like that. Like if you have a big event that's going to have multiple channels, maybe even multi-language channels, you'll be able to find all of that under the same banner. So we're trying our best to only give out the Teams product to those who would actually make great use of it. And the last thing you mentioned, it was Teams, communities.
Pulse is up there.
Pulse, oh yeah, cool. So Pulse is one thing that I really love on Twitch. It's very similar to a lot of other social media platforms where you're able to just post a status update, say you're going to an event, and your followers probably don't use Facebook, Reddit, Twitter, and all those other platforms out there, and you want to be able to communicate with them when you're away from your stream, so that you don't end up losing either subs or followers. So that's where Pulse comes in, and you're able to let your people know, hey guys, I'm going away for the weekend to this particular event, but I'll be live on this particular day at this time. So I think it's a very welcome addition, especially due to the fact that now with the Twitch app, you're able to use Pulse to update people. And also if you go on the Pulse tab on Twitch, you can actually go live right there and have an IRL stream. So that's another product that we just rolled out. People have been waiting forever for mobile broadcasts, and they're finally here. I think the Twitch affiliate program is a great idea. I'm really happy that it finally came about. It's been something that we've been talking about for quite some time, and we finally decided to roll it out around spring of this year. And ever since then, a lot of people who wanted to find success on the platform are finding success on the platform. Whereas before, if they were having a tough time getting partnered, they would just decide to up and leave and go to another platform if they feel as if Twitch is not giving them the chance. So now people who are very loyal to Twitch and want to find success on Twitch can get that opportunity with the affiliate program. Even if their numbers may not be as good as a person who can get partner, at least they can get a chance to earn some revenue themselves. Affiliates don't necessarily need an amount of subs in order to apply for partnership. Instead, what we focus mostly on are the concurrent viewers on your channel, right? Like if, say, we realized you started having 500 concurrent viewers every single time you went live, and also you went live many times during the month to the point where we felt like you were a regular streamer, then we would approach you for a partnership after realizing how successful you were on the platform.
Nice.
Do bits play into it at all? Like if someone gets a ridiculous amount of bits on a regular basis, do you guys ever look at that kind of stuff?
I mean, if we notice that a person is making a lot of revenue on the platform, like through bits, that won't necessarily qualify them for a partnership. Because what if they were to stream just one time or twice a month, but they got crazy amounts of bits because maybe they're like a big name or something like that. Well, you know what, then again, big names do usually get approached for opportunities on the platforms, but I'm saying, I guess if it's a random person that maybe found a way to, they probably had like a stream that attracted a lot of attention and they got a lot of bits, but then after that they just poof, disappeared, never came back ever again. You know, we wouldn't necessarily reach out to them unless we realized that they were somebody that wanted to be like an actual Twitch broadcaster, because, you know, I feel like it's better to give opportunities to those people who are dedicated and want to find success on the platform versus somebody who just decides to go live and they're like, all right, that was cool, and never come back ever again on the platform. That's like preferential treatment, and I think that sucks. With the Twitch app, one of the things that we wanted to do is give more people opportunities to find success on Twitch, especially because a lot of our viewers do come from mobile. So what we're trying to do now is get these small to medium broadcasters in the eyes of people. And there are a lot of different things that factor into them getting visibility on the platform, which I can't quite reveal, but I will say that we are giving more opportunities to small and medium partners on the platform, which is a great thing, because before it used to be all about just highest concurrent viewers, which those guys, regardless of whether or not they're on the front page of Twitch, they're always going to be netting those big views anyway. So it's about time we switched up our strategy to find other ways for people to find success on Twitch.
So would you say that giving like small to medium sized streamers more opportunities to grow is a focus for Twitch right now? Is that like a part of your something that you're doing?
I would say we're trying to make it as apparent as possible, because back then people that wanted to become partners but didn't get the opportunity to be granted partnership would immediately feel like Twitch was this club where, you know, if you didn't have certain credentials, whatever, you can't get in, right? So because of this, we trying to make it, different with the affiliate program. I think that's like the biggest statement that we've made, and ever since then, people have been like super happy singing our praises from the mountains. So
From the mountains!
The conversation around affiliates is like big and complex. And do you think there's like the possibility of like those guidelines for becoming an affiliate could change later on? Like the barrier to entry could be a little higher maybe, or is that why it started so low?
Are you meaning complaints from like partners or complaints from?
It's a conversation, and I feel like there's complaints and there's praises for sure, but I'm like,
the way I look at it, in the past, people complained when we decided to introduce like sub buttons. Like there were people that were thinking, why are you guys like doing this? This is like, this doesn't make any sense. Why are all partners all of a sudden getting sub buttons? And then, looking into the future now, all of a sudden, it's a thing that all partners enjoy. I feel like a lot of people just don't necessarily like change, and they should just write it out, see how the affiliate program goes. I just look at it as an opportunity to give people who didn't think that they would be able to make it now have a shot on Twitch, where if they didn't feel like they could make it on Twitch, they would just leave Twitch and go to another platform where they might feel more welcome. Because there are a lot of other platforms out there that try to openly say like, hey, you may not be able to find success on Twitch, but we'll give you guys a shot. And when people hear that, they're like, wow, gee, thanks. I guess I'll leave Twitch and go here because I tried for many years and they don't seem to care about me. But now, we changed. We're trying to make sure we're clear too with our message. And as far as the people who are partners that are not happy about the affiliate program, I feel as if they're just not looking at it from all different angles. Like, surprisingly enough, now that we have a lot more affiliates, we actually started seeing an increase for revenue with partners as well, because now there are just more and more people that are willing to try out the program, and they feel like, wow, man, I could actually, find success on this platform, and they're networking now more with other people on the platform, be it partners or just users in general. I think there's just way more traffic now on Twitch because of this, because these people who are users can also in turn become users of the platform. Like, I mean, if they were broadcasters because of the affiliate program, now they are users of the platform, like regular users trying to see what the wonderful world of Twitch is about. Not to sound cheesy or anything.